Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, IU football wraps up non-conference play with a 73-0 rout of Indiana State.
And field hockey takes down St. Francis of Pennsylvania 5-1 in a Sunday afternoon matinee. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Madeline Denny.
And I'm Darian Watson. It's getting hot in Bloomington, isn't it?
It really is. And you know who else is heating up here? The Indiana football team. The Indiana football team wrapped up their non-conference slate with a 73-0 win over Indiana State. Let's check out some of the highlights. The last time the Hoosiers welcomed Indiana State to Bloomington was in 2023 when they had a win over the Sycamores 41-7. In the first minutes of play, Mendoza found a gap in the line and used his legs to take himself to the house, giving the Hoosiers the 7-0 advantage. And the fans at Memorial Stadium had plenty more to cheer for. Next up, Mendoza faked a handoff and threw a screen to Omar Cooper Jr., who used his legs to bound around the defense, taking himself to the end zone, giving the Hoosiers the 14-0 advantage. Next, Mendoza doubled back and sent a dart down the middle to once again find Cooper Jr., giving the Hoosiers a 21 advantage and Cooper's second touchdown of the night. Mendoza then found Holden Stays in the end zone. This gives the Hoosiers a 31-0 lead. This is also the Tennessee transfer's first touchdown as a Hoosier. On the defensive side, Keegan Patterson was looking for his receivers when Isaiah Jones ran around the O-line and took down Patterson for the sack. Mendoza then went and found the corner of the end zone with Jonathan Brady, giving the Hoosiers a 38-0 lead. This was one of Brady's 2 touchdowns for the night. Again, Patterson was looking for his receivers when defensive lineman Kellen Wyatt knocked down the pass on a 4th-and-1 drive by ISU to give Indiana the possession on ISU's 35-yard line. Mendoza then shot the ball back down the center, once again finding Cooper Jr. for his 3rd touchdown of the night, giving Indiana a 45-0 lead. That was not it for the Mendoza-Cooper Jr. connection, as in the 3rd quarter, Mendoza would fake another handoff and send it flying to Omar Cooper Jr., who split the defense to find the house once again. Cooper Jr. caught 4 touchdowns, tying the program record for the most receiving touchdowns in a game. The Hoosiers have their first-ranked game excluding the COVID season since 1993 as the Illinois Fighting Illini come to Bloomington for a primetime Saturday showdown.
Indiana men's soccer hosted Michigan this past Saturday in the first Big Ten game of the season. Our Brooks White has the recap.
The Indiana Hoosiers suffer their first loss on the season here at home against the Michigan Wolverines. It was a tight first half, ending 1-1 at halftime, but in the second half, it was a second half filled with goals. The Michigan Wolverines went 3-1 up in the second half, but the Hoosiers clawed back. Colin Zadoro had a goal within the last 10 minutes, and the Hoosiers had a chance to tie it up. Palmer Alt stepped up to the penalty spot, but his shot went off of the right post, going out of play.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a lot of courage to take the penalties, and I told him after the game we wouldn't have changed it. I wasn't thinking of another player. They're going made a heck of a save. Give him credit. Not a great penalty by Palmer. And there's a massive amount of pressure. It's as close to a penalty shootout you'll get in a college cup environment.
The Michigan Wolverines back line was tremendous tonight, halting the number 1 ranked team in the country. All the runs were clogged up, and the Wolverines did a great job at parking the bus and playing a defensive style of play here in Bloomington, Indiana. For the Hoosiers, it's a gut punch. They had the control for the majority of the game, and it almost seemed like the Hoosiers should have walked out of here with a win, but unfortunately for Todd Yeagley's squad, they fall to 5-1-1 on the season. Still a very good record, but to open up Big Ten play, it's not ideal for the Hoosiers. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Brooks White.
Men's soccer will be back in action on Friday as they travel to Penn State to take on the Nittany Lions.
This past Friday, IU women's soccer hit the road to take on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Heading into this game, the Illini had a perfect 7-0-0 record, but the Hoosiers held them to a scoreless draw, a brilliant defensive effort by Indiana. The goalkeeping was an area of particular excellence for the Hoosiers as their tandem of Sally Rainey and Danny Jacobson each stepped up to make important saves for Indiana. Tonight, the Hoosiers will continue their road trip as their next stop takes them to College Park to take on the Maryland Terrapins.
Last weekend, Indiana got their season off the blocks with an exhibition meet. With more on their meet in the upcoming season, here's IUSTV sports reporter Oliver Carr.
Following another successful season, which included a Big Ten team title and several individual national championship wins, IU Swim and Dive will seek to continue on that success.
We lost a great deal of points, graduated a lot of awesome seniors, so we're very much in sort of a rebuilding mode. But we have two very young teams, but with a lot of young talent on them.
With the majority of the roster made up of underclassmen, the Hoosiers will need to rely on some of that young talent in order to succeed.
But freshmen, you never really know what you're going to get. So the quicker we can make them behave like veterans, the better. Even though this was just a practice, I was pretty encouraged by some of our freshmen and our younger athletes, with what they might be able to do to step up. So I think we could be pretty good.
While on the surface, the young core for the Hoosiers remains inexperienced. Competing on the international circuit provides an opportunity for them to learn and grow.
International experience that, our team was force-fed, so we're going to totally benefit from that because the collegiate season is nothing like that gauntlet, and I'm interested to see how that pays off in the collegiate season.
As this storied IU program exits yet another record book season, this young team now looks to lead the charge towards yet one more. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Oliver Carr.
IU Swim and Dive's first meet is a big one, as next Friday they host the perennial national championship contenders, the Florida Gators.
Coming up after the break, we crown this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week.
And go through field hockey's big win over St. Francis. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night.
Joining us in studio for this week's Hoosier Highlight is IUSTV sports reporter Rob Frangoni. Rob?
Thanks, Darian. Guys, it looks like Indiana is starting to form a dangerous wide receiver duo after Omar Cooper Jr.'s highlight reel day against the Indiana State Sycamores. Cooper hauled in 10 catches for 207 yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 of which came in the first half and the final in the opening minutes of the second. Those 4 grabs tied the program record for most in a game and also make up for just the 18th 4-touchdown game in Big Ten history. Through 3 weeks this season, Cooper is tied for most yards in a game in Power 4 play, and those yards put him at 7th on the all-time Indiana single-game charts. This stellar performance earned him Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week, as well as a spot on our Hoosier Highlight. Heading into the most anticipated game of the season against 9th-ranked Illinois, Fernando Mendoza seemingly has 2 reliable targets that he can air the ball out to. Hopefully, this dynamic duo will get the Hoosiers' first-ranked win in the Signetti era. I'm Rob Frangione, sending it back to you guys at the desk.
Indiana field hockey continued their winning streak against St. Francis of Pennsylvania on Sunday after a 12-0 record-breaking game against Lock Haven on Friday. IUSTV sports reporter Mara White has the story.
The Indiana Hoosiers took to Deborah Tobias Field Sunday afternoon to take on the St. Francis Red Flash. Indiana pulled ahead strong in the first period with multiple shots on goal attempts. However, it took to the second period for any of them to follow through. In the 16th minute, freshman back Lily Freeman scored the first goal of the game and of her collegiate career. Senior midfielder Anna Mozelski quickly followed her up with a goal in the 17th minute, advancing the score to 2-0. Indiana picked it back up in the third period with a 34th minute goal by freshman forward Molly Soot to start the second half. They continued in the third period with multiple goal attempts until junior back Hannah Riddle found the net in the 39th minute. This ended the third period 4-0. The fourth period started off scoreless with attempted shots and penalty corners from both teams. The Red Flames found their first goal of the game in the 52nd minute from sophomore forward Kylie Hager. The Hoosiers returned the favor in the 56th minute with a goal from junior forward Ava Winner, ending the game 5-1. Indiana saw 23 shots on goal compared to St. Francis's 2. The Hoosiers hope to keep up this gameplay as they head into conference play.
We're going to have to be on those details in terms of discipline, in terms of chances. You know, we might only get those 3 chances. We've got to get that ball in, so just talked a little bit about that as well.
Indiana field hockey will return to Deborah Tobias Field next week to start their Big Ten Conference play. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Maura White.
The Hoosiers will take on the Iowa Hawkeyes next Friday at 3 and Sunday at 12. The games will be able to stream on the Big Ten Network.
Indiana women's tennis started their season at the Debbie Southern Furman Fall Classic in Greenville, South Carolina. 4 Hoosiers competed throughout the weekend, including 3 freshmen making their first appearances for Indiana. In Day 1's doubles matches, Amaya Sori and Helani Williams defeated Taylor Getz and Jane Dunyan of South Carolina 6-2. Amaya Sori and Helani Williams defeated Whitley Pate and Evie Oxford from Wake Forest 6-4. Nicole Cifuentes and Manzi Vadiala defeated Elena Caratanali and Sabrit Dozier of Georgia Tech 6-2. Ella Brownback and Polina Slepsova of Texas Tech defeated Nicole Cifuentes and Manzi Vadilala for 6-7-6. For singles, Helani Williams defeated Ellie Myers of Kentucky 6-1, 5-7, and 6-3. In Day 2 doubles, Amaya Sori and Helani Williams were defeated 6-1. Nicole Cifuentes and Manzi Vadiala were defeated 6-0. For singles, Amaya Sori defeated Olivia Droner of Penn State 6-2, 6-3, and Helani Williams defeated Polina Slepsova of Texas Tech 6-2, 6-1. For Day 3 singles, Amaya Sori defeated Addison Bowman of Alabama 6-3, 6-3. Manzi Vadilala defeated Kenzie Crawford of Clemson 6-1, 6-0. Nicole Cifuentes defeated Macy Hedgecock of Furman 7-6, 6-3. And Elle Warren of Furman defeated Helani Williams 7-5, 7-5. Women's tennis will compete at the ITA All-American Championships September 20th through September 28th.
After this past weekend competing at the Rambler Invitational in Chicago, Indiana volleyball is 8-0 for the first time in head coach Steve Ayer's 7 seasons with the program. The Hoosiers swept their matches against Bowling Green and Stephen Austin State and conceded only 1 set to Loyola Chicago, winning 3-1. Standout players from this weekend include senior outside hitter Candela Alonso Corcelis and sophomore middle backer Ella Borsima. Alonso Corcelis led the offense with 34 kills over 3 matches, moving her into the top 20 for career kills in Indiana. On the defensive side, Borsima was responsible for 20 of the Hoosiers' 39 total blocks across 3 matches. Next up for Indiana volleyball, they traveled to Bowling Green, Kentucky for their last weekend of non-conference play.
Before we go, our Gigi Welp breaks down what's happening this weekend in Hoosier athletics.
Thanks, Madeline. IU Athletics has had the past 3 days off, but starting tomorrow, their short break is over. Women's and men's soccer will both be away this weekend, with the women playing at Maryland on Thursday and at Rutgers on Sunday, and the men playing at Penn State on Friday. Also on Friday is field hockey playing at home against Iowa, and volleyball playing Western Kentucky away in Bowling Green. Men's and women's golf will also be away this weekend, with the women in Franklin, Tennessee for the Mason Rudolph Invitational and the men playing in Illinois for the Fighting Illini Invitational. Moving on to Saturday, men's and women's tennis kick off the week-long ITA All-American Championships. The women will be playing in Cary, North Carolina, while the men will play in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Also on Saturday, volleyball will continue their stay in Bowling Green with a match against Bradley University. IU football will host the Fighting Illini at Memorial Stadium for their first conference matchup this season at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. Finally, to finish out the weekend on Sunday, women's soccer will play Rutgers away in New Jersey, and field hockey will have their second matchup against Iowa at home. That's all I've got for this week's Candy Stripe calendar. Back to you at the desk.
And that's it for our show this week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports to keep up with all of the latest in IU athletics. For our production crew behind us, I'm Darian Watson.
And I'm Madeline Denny. We'll see you next week.